I'm Mark Noble, and this is the Academy of Football Podcast.
Yo, this is the Academy of Football in claret and blue. Absolutely massive, they just ain't got a clue. But just watch how we move, we got it here, come and see. Yeah, stepping in clean. Irons.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Academy of Football Podcast. I'm Kev Slade and tonight my guest is the founder of West Ham Network. It was West Ham's button monkey for 25 years. Sadly, that's come to an end and we are going to talk about that tonight. It is Russ Budden.
Thanks for having me, Kev.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, all things considered. Not too bad.
Really good to see you. And you've had a bit of a mad week, haven't you?
It's been,
this week.
It's been mentally quite overwhelming and quite humbling as well, in all honesty. It's been a bit of a crazy week, let's be honest.
I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that because I know a lot's happened.
Yep.
Been keeping an eye on social media.
Yeah.
But I am going to take you right back to the start. Has anyone ever asked you how you come into supporting West Ham? How did that all start?
Family, as probably 95% of people, both sides of my family are West Ham fans. My old man is actually from Charlton area, but he was a big West Ham fan and used to get beaten up walking under the tunnel. When the Charlton fans coming the other way, he was a West Ham fan. Same with my mum's side, they're all West Ham fans. In fact, there's like an old sort of story that one of our great granddad was a coach at the Thames Ironworks.
That's amazing.
Apparently, this is, but and they sacked him when they became professional. Oh, so it runs in the family. They sack players when things change. So it's always been West Ham. Never really had a choice, like a lot of people, So that was it really from birth. Yeah. It's the same as you, same as Dave. Massive part of our lives, isn't it? First game, 1992, Oxford United 5-3. I was a glory hunter, so it was the promotional year where we went up when Clive Allen scored. And
that was my first season as well. Yeah, so my first full season. That was
92, 93, my first full season. Yeah, so I remember because it's things just stick in your mind forever. And my brother was with me as well. One of my brothers, the others weren't born yet, but so we were there, with our little bobble hats on, scarves, sitting in the East Stand with my granddad, and literally Oxford United scored within 30 seconds. And I remember that because he turned to me, my granddad, I always remember it. He went, "You've got a lifetime of this." And I didn't believe him. I did not believe him at the time, but it was so true. And I think Julian scored a couple. We were on 5-3. And you were hooked ever since. That was it. And then we went loads that season. Obviously went to that Cambridge United game. And again, sort of, you get these weird flashbacks. And we was at on the West Stand lower. And I remember when Clive Allen scored that goal and everyone went on the pitch, I remember distinctly my head went like that. And this rope ladder went right around my head and someone had thrown it from the top and was abseiling down. I'm 99% sure I remember this.
Whereabouts in theEst Ham was that? Because that's where I used to sit.
It was where Clive scored. So literally.
So do you remember that police box? Do you remember that where they used to have the police?
Yes, it was the other side of that police box between what was the south back.
It'd be the Bobby Moore. Well, what became the Bobby Moore?
No, it was actually what would be the Centenary. Became the Centenary.
Oh, you was up that end. Right, okay.
And I just remember this thing flying over my head. And honestly, it was just the most maddest. That season was mad. And that's what I'm really looking forward to this season. Those sort of playing sides we haven't played off for so long and maybe winning a few games, scoring a few more goals. And it's weird how sort of everything comes around in circles, isn't it? Every sort of...
It's funny though, isn't it? Because we're talking like nearly 40 years ago now when we're talking about that season.
Yeah.
And your granddad said to you, "You've got a lifetime of this."
Yeah.
It's fucking funny, isn't it?
It's
like
so
40
true.
years on and we're still saying the same old thing to the generations below us.
Exactly. And generation, anything happens, on the pitch or in the club, nothing surprises us as West Ham fans because it is just what West Ham's always been about. Maybe things might change, in terms of the business side of the West Ham. Seems that sort of green shoots in terms of that, our recent sort of transfer activity or transfer out activity. But yeah, it's just inherently everything about West Ham. Then people before us they would have had the same situations. You got to think, going back to the 60s, we had 3 of the world's best players and we never won the league. We won a few cups, and it's mental when you think about that, like nowadays. And, all these times, boys of 86, and then obviously we almost went down that following season. We won the FA Cup. We were in essence, the championship at that time. Yeah, it's just what West Ham's all about. Nothing surprises you.
Well, my dad said that his dad told him a story. So when England won the World Cup, he said that West Ham were interested in Gordon Banks.
Yes, yeah.
And then apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, West Ham's manager said, "Oh no, actually, I don't think we're going to need him.
We got Bobby Ferguson.
Because I think we're going to do really well."
It was Mora, I think. But Mora went to him. I think Bobby went to him and went to Greenwood and said, "Look, there's this. We can get Gordon Banks in. No, I know I've already signed a deal to get Bobby Ferguson in, and he was such a
that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a gentleman's agreement, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we've had Bobby Ferguson on the channel, before he was in Australia. I think he was still in Australia at the time, though he's still there now. But yeah, it was true, that story, and I think he'd conceded like a load of goals in the pre-season friendly or something like that when we played them, or because it happened with what's his face, Paul Hilton, wasn't it? I think he'd lost loads of goals. We'd lost 10-0 at that side, and we then bought him. And yeah, but there's always these things. When we got Neymar, we could have got Neymar when he was at Santos.
Yeah, we've always had that. We were saying this last week. We've always had that opportunity to try and progress, and we're always like, no, actually, I don't think we're going to need that player because we've done so well.
Turned down Shevchenko, and he scored in the reserves. Moisey didn't like the look of Julian Alvarez, and
Marcelo Salas as well.
Salas as well, didn't he? Yeah. Turn his ankle or something, getting on the plane or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Ray Houghton. Yeah. We had Ray Houghton, didn't we? There's loads of these sort of sliding... John Terry, we had these sort of sliding doors moments. But again, that is the fabric of West Ham. That's what makes West Ham West Ham. It's these... I always think we should change our motto to if, buts and maybes, because that is literally what West Ham... If we did this, if we'd done that, if we'd got Gordon Banks, if we'd done that, something might have been different. But...
it goes hand in hand with the type of people that we are, though.
Exactly.
It does, though, don't it? So this is why I always say to my mates that support other clubs, I always say, that's why we're different to you.
It's
because it just goes, that's it. It goes hand in hand with the characters that the fan base are, and at the end of the day, we are the biggest piss takers of ourselves, regardless of what people say.
You tell you what, my daughter, she literally, last season and previous season, why'd you put West Ham, Dad? And I was like, it's you don't understand it. She's tried. She's got a bit more into football with like the World Cup because it's been on TikTok. So we'll be driving and she'll say, "God, I tell you what, Jude Bellingham, three goals in 3." And I was like, "Where's this come from?" Years I've been trying to make her a West Ham fan. I've taken her to even some of the academy games. Because she didn't mind them, and because Nobes. Lemmy comes sometimes, and I was thinking maybe this could be the new Danny Dyer and Jared Bowen.
He's a player, him.
Yeah, he's a good player, good young player. He's just got scholarships, hasn't he? So I was like, maybe maybe Mark Noble could be your father-in-law, but no, it hasn't worked out that way. But it's just what being a West Ham fan's all about.
Yeah. So I am going to say the 90s was obviously your favourite era supporting West Ham.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the memories of the 90s then, because I harp on about this a lot. I love talking about the Boleyn Ground, Upton Park. The 90s was my favourite era, especially under Harry as well.
Yeah.
And we talk about the type of players that we signed under Harry, like Marco Boogers. Samassi Abu comes through the door. Yeah. Like no one knows who the fuck Samassi Abu is. He's, when he played, we were like, I think we've got a bit of a player here.
Yeah.
Just
funny player. I used to live in Loughton at the time, and basically everyone was either all the West Ham lot or Tottenham lot lived in Loughton and around that area, because it was like 25 minutes from Chadwell, 25 minutes from their Tottenham's ground, Cheltenham training ground. And I used to work at the local Safeways, and Samassi Abu would come and do his Friday big shop there. And I was learning, so I'd try and learn. I was learning French at the time at school, so I was trying to sort of do. He looked at me like I was an idiot. And funny enough, Samassi Abu, he still sends me voice messages for Christmas, and I'm trying to get on the channel, but he never does understand how it all works. He lives in the Ivory Coast as well, so
does he?
Yeah.
I only fucking lived in Basildon.
There was the talk of him a cab driver in Basildon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I know he's got a football school, I think, in the Ivory Coast.
Okay.
But yeah, that whole area, Shaka would do his Friday big shop, and you'd see him because you'd have like all the aisles, and he would be a foot taller than everyone else, and that was a mad time. mad. And that's why I sort of feel bad for sort of kids now, because you never get that sort of association, that sort of
so far
human
away
association.
From them. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I remember like, my best claim to fame at the time was seeing Paul Kitson in the Woolworths in Loughton buying this massive box of Pick and Mix.
Really?
And and it was like these sort of things you never get anymore now. Like where we used to live, there was a West Ham house 2 or 3 doors up, which Joe used to live in. I think Carrick lived there for a bit. Then Adrian Whitbread lived there for a while. And it was just like you'd bump into West Ham fans.
I love these
West Ham
stories.
players.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. And it's like you don't get that now. They all live in Canary Wharf and they're just
I love these
gated
stories.
communities, and they get, you know, I don't know, whoosh deliveries, and you know, so you don't see them anymore now. But you know, you could reassociate. You know, you'd see Bish.
Well, they were relatable, weren't they?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
so
To when we were younger.
Yeah,
and they made time for the kids as well. I don't know what it is now. Again, I'll talk about this quite a lot with the modern day footballer.
Yeah.
Some of them are great, like Deck, for example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and Jared
he's
as well.
old school, any Deck. Though.
Yeah, and Jared as well. But when you see footage of the Arsenal players like walking past the mascots, they're not even giving them any eye contact. And that's what was so great about being kids in the 90s, because Bish actually used to live right around the corner from me. And do you remember back in the day when they had, I think he had like a Ford Escort. It was a West Ham car, but it actually had fucking Ian Bishop, West Ham United, fucking written on the side of the door.
Bish, bless him. So I remember I went to school in Loughton. I went to school at a school called Davenant, and my brother is a few years younger than me. He was at school as well. And you know, they used to do like those prank shows, and like there was Dave Benson Phillips.
Yeah.
They did one. And so they pranked my brother. And so he was in his art class, and Dave Benson Phillips comes in, and it was all like, had all the hidden cameras. He was like, "Where's Tom Budden?" And he's like, Tom's like, "Oh, do you know this guy?" And it was Bish. And Bish was like and so we went and played like football with Bish for like 20 minutes, half an hour on the playground. And it was like, I love this. This is like, you don't get this anymore now. I wouldn't expect to see, you know.
Well, they played for their mortgages back then as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's so true. It's so true.
Because he lived in I think Bish lived in a West Ham house. So are you familiar with, obviously being from Loughton, do you remember the Boleyn pub?
Yeah.
He used to live down one of those roads next to that.
Yeah.
And he actually lived next door to the guy that owned the sweet shop that was across the road to me. My mum was good friends with him.
Yeah.
So, coming from the area, you got West Ham players that live around there, and you were mingling with West Ham.
Yeah.
Trevor Sinclair, he was another one. He lived right around the corner from me. He was a member in my video shop. I used to stalk him through the window when I was about 14 years old.
Yeah,
penny farthing when he got signed.
farthing, remember that?
Yeah, with a Sharpie marker.
But I mean, it's that sort of whole era, and there's a reason why I know, you know, we do Lens events and stuff like that. There's a reason why they all sell out, because it's relatable. You know, it's like the stories don't change. You know, McAvenny's not going to come up with a new story about him and Julian Dix getting on the back of a milk cart, you know, coming back from Chadwell Heath. But it's because they're relatable. And, you know, obviously through the channel and through West Ham, obviously I've got to know a lot of these players very well. And I mean, you know, when we get to talk about what's happened the last week or so, a lot of players have reached out, ex-players have reached out to me, which, you know, I didn't expect, you know, but actually they are mates in a weird way. So you sort of understand that. And for them to take the time to give me a call to see if I was all right and moan about West Ham and moan about everything that's gone on, it just sort of reaffirms that West Hamness about those lots. You know, so as I said, there's a reason why they all sell out. And it's the same people, you know, it's not like anyone new, but it's great when you get new people. Like we got Schemmel on, and you know, and obviously Tommy.
He's a great guy. He's a great
brilliant.
guy.
Honestly, he's such a lovely man. And then those that one surprise you. You know, Seb really surprised me. You know how much he loved West Ham, but you know he's got a restaurant out of it.
Yeah, Upton Park.
Yeah,
called Upton Park. He's got West Ham tattoo as well.
Yeah, in Luxembourg. So but they sort of get it, and you know, as you said, probably up until maybe probably the Carlton Cole era. From then onwards, I think it sort of went a little bit downhill in terms of necessarily the difference between them and now. You got to think Carlton and Jimmy Walker and Ginge. And
they're sort of our age group, aren't they?
Yeah, you're probably right.
So they knew what it meant to be a fan themselves.
Yeah,
idolising players, because Ginge spoke a lot about oh God, what's his name? Oh, forgive me, I can't remember his name now. Cyril Regis. He spoke a lot about Cyril Regis and how he idolised him when he was a kid. And he said the same thing. He said the same thing.
It makes sense. And I think there's so much, and I think you're probably right. I mean, those were probably the last ones when they didn't necessarily come into the money. You know, now kids you look at some of the academy boys, they're going to be on more money than the likes of, you know, Ginge and that lot were on at the time, you know, and it's just how much the game's developed and in terms of the money that people, it's a career now, whereas it was probably a passion for the likes of Ginge and that lot, you know, as the last bastions of that bit. And it's a shame because it's like, I mean, Anton, he went to the Rangers game and, you know, then Mark Noble came over and said hello and Bowen, and for his kids, they're like, wow. But, you know, for me, I'd get more excited meeting Pete Butler, you know, or Trevor Morley or people like that.
Yeah, because they were our heroes.
They were our heroes, yeah. And they just seem a lot more approachable than maybe, I don't know, so Somerville was, for example. You know, it's moved on. Football's different now.
Yeah. It's very robotic.
Yes.
I mean, it was always a job to them because they got paid to do it. If you get paid to do something, it's a job.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just so micromanaged in every single aspect of, I wouldn't even call it a sport anymore. And that sounds ridiculous. It's a
true.
business.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's a business.
It's a brand and it's a business.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, let's go on to the channel. Let's go on to West Ham Network.
Yep.
What made you want to start a West Ham channel?
Lockdown. Yeah. So lockdown 1.0, my mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she moved in and I was like, fuck, I'm going to be sitting with her for fucking how long. So I just literally said we had like a room like this down the garage. And I just said to my wife, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. She went, what? And actually the reason being was I think I was looking at Wikipedia or something like that because you just doom scrolling forever because there's nothing else to do. You'd watched Tiger King, you'd watched all that, and there was an article about West Ham's like best ever 11 voted for by fans, and I was looking through it, and it was like Bobby Moore, Brookin, you know, all these fantastic players, but I never saw like hardly any of them play. And I said, well, my 11 is going to be different from someone else's. And so I thought, yeah, let's do that. So that was the idea. And it got pretty quick.
Oh, it really took off.
Yeah, because everyone's at home and wanted to talk about football. And, you know, I still get messages now from people going, you know, you saved me during lockdown and stuff because we could talk about football. There was no football on telly. It just went crazy. And then ex-players, obviously, their 11s from the eras they've played in. And so everything was different. And it just like grew and grew. And it got to a point where actually I couldn't keep up with it. And at the time, Anton and Stel had a channel called Irons United, and we'd got them on the channel before and we'd had a good laugh. And I said, should we all buddy up? And they went, yeah. And they went, that's a good idea. So we did that, and Stel then decided to do his own thing, which was cool. We just thought, actually, I want to go off and do my own thing rather than necessarily be part of a collective. Like, yeah, we had no problem with that at all, and you know, we're still very friendly with Stel, and they just went on, and you know, we've created this thing now. We just hit 30,000 subs, which was mental, and you know, we decided we didn't just want it to be just about us. We wanted lots of different people on there, lots of different voices and opinions. So then Holly came on, who's brilliant. So
she's great. Holly.
She's great.
Yeah,
she's really good. Yeah. And like no other channel had a woman on the chat on this as a regular. So we did that. And then we got Ben and Connor, who literally just emailed us. They were subscribers. Can we come do some shows? Brilliant. Ben's really analytical. So it's really good for sort of now with all the players we've been linked to, these sort of deep dive. Connor's in Ireland. So yeah, great. Irish Tommy comes and does a show. At the moment he's just had a kid, so he's on we gave him parental leave. So but he's great. He's a different dynamic. And then we have Budgie and Kieran. Kieran lives in Australia because we thought actually everything we do is UK based and maybe America, but there's loads of fans, expats out in Australia and stuff. We don't have anything live for them to do. So we do like a live show at like 10 o'clock UK time. In the evening, which is sort of 8 o'clock, something like that in Australia. So they come on. So it's all about having different voices and have this sort of network of people. And yeah, we do a bit of everything as most people do. We love it. And, you know, when we're all sort of parents and stuff, so we share the workload and no, it's good fun.
Oh, it is addictive.
Oh, it is addictive.
It does become addictive. It's hard work. Again, I've touched on this quite a few times with various other people. Yeah. It is such hard work, but it is so addictive. I drive that poor bastard mad.
Well,
How many times have I messaged you today?
Yeah.
Because I love a voice note. As soon as voice notes come out, I just can't be bothered to tell. I just can't be bothered to text,
really,
mate. I can't.
Anton's and voice note.
Yeah.
It really winds me up because I'm a texter, and it's like, and I'm looking at my phone, if I'm in traffic, and it's like, well, I've got to play the voice note, and there's always a 2-second delay, that millennial pause, my daughter calls it, where it's like you press record and then you wait. And then you talk, rather than sort of like the TikTok is you go straight away. Otherwise, people.
Oh, I get angry when I get a phone call. Yeah, like the old school way. I get angry when my phone rings because I'm like, I was just about to send a voice note.
So Anton's a voice note person, but it is addictive. I mean, we love it. I love it. It saved me, I think, during lockdown, and you get the bug for it, and particularly now where I've got a whole new bunch of people that I haven't spoken to before in terms of different content creators who are in the championship. I'm part of a content creators WhatsApp group, which is great. So I'm meeting all these new people, and they're obviously all buddies, and I'm coming in as the new pretender to the crown. So we had a Portsmouth guy on, and we got the Burnley guys on. Obviously we had Burnley guys on before, but looking forward to chatting to the Millwall bloke.
That's going to be interesting.
He keeps calling me Vermin, so it's here he is. Vermin's piped up again. We're going to have a giggle, aren't we?
It's funny, ain't it? Because since we've been relegated, obviously on our YouTube, we've had quite a lot of comments, and we're getting Millwall fans on there now, and it's like it just feels a bit weird.
It's
to
a
have
different
Millwall
mentality.
fans coming to it is, isn't it? It's like when they come to sort of your channel or your social media, and they're like giving you stick. You think like in the back of your mind, you think you're nothing to us, really.
It's funny, isn't it?
I was about to say with all due respect, but no.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like it's a different mentality now. We are, and when we talk to all of them, like I talked to a Pompey guy the other day, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are going to walk the league." I was like, "How?
Absolutely
How?
not.
Literally, there's no way. There's no way. We've got massive holes in the squad and all that type of thing, and it's really weird that we're the big fish in the small pond now, and people are going to want to come to London Stadium and try and do us over. And that's the mentality that worries me now, because actually that's something which we're not used to. We haven't been doing for the last 14 years. Last time we was at Upton Park. We're at a different stadium now, and a shiny new stadium for a lot of new fans as well. Stuff like that, and it's a different mentality now of us. And I'm just slightly apprehensive of the fact that we're not set up like that. We've never been set up that as West Ham fans.
It is interesting to see how we cope in the Championship in that stadium, because I don't think that's been spoken about enough, to tell the truth, because when we've been relegated in previous years, we could always fall back on the Boleyn ground. Yeah. Again, I've got a smirk on my face. I just love talking about the Boleyn ground. We always had that to fall back on. It was the spirit of the Boleyn, as I called it. Yeah. You're on top of the pitch, you're on top of the players, but I am a pessimistic West Ham fan. I don't want to be, but I
think
am.
everyone is. I think it's that sort of, it's been ground into us for so long that we're plucky West Ham, and we're always thinking, we're always thinking the worst, and that's just being a West Ham fan. We've always been like that, and I think the difference maybe is the fact that approaching over 50,000 season ticket holders. That's mental. Yeah, that is mental. There's only one club in the 92 who's got more season ticket holders than West Ham. And that's a massive thing if they all turn up. That's the thing. Will they turn up to Lincoln City? That's the issue I've got. It's great having the season tickets, and it's great having the money in, but we need them to turn up. And that's a slight worry, because I guarantee Lincoln will sell their allocation. Bolton are going to sell, everyone's going to sell their allocation. And that's the thing that worries me, particularly if we don't start well. We're going to start pretty sharpish, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with what's going on at the moment, I'm relieved that we've actually got a new face through the door. Yeah. Because all these players are going out. And again, we can talk about the leaks may have been plugged. I mean, I know that some ITKs have got a lot of stuff right. Yeah. But I was panicking. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I was thinking, I looked at that table and it is a Premier League graveyard. And I thought, we've got a lot of hard work to do this season. We're not going to walk it. Absolutely not.
Right. And I think that's the thing for me. It's like it's like quicksand, that league. if you don't get out in the first season, maybe second season, you get dragged in, you'll be like Stoke and you'll be like Middlesbrough. No disrespect to them, but they were good, solid Premier League clubs. So look at Leicester City. You know, we talk about our demise from winning the Conference League. They won the fucking Premier League and now they're in League One.
FA Cup as well.
FA Cup as well, and now they're in League One. So that's you know, when Kretinsky, when the first July the 13th statement came out and he said the Premier League, getting promoted is our only goal. It has to be. It has to be. Above all, I know people want a decent cup run. We can't afford a decent cup run if it deters away from 46 games. There's a lot of games, a lot of football to be played. And there'll always be a surprise package in that league. So like Coventry last year, stormed it, and look at Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough were flying high. They ended up dropping into the playoffs and they're not going up. And they got another season in the Championship. I think what's particularly over pre-season, what's been shown is we didn't get the fire sale that we thought was going to be. We've sold well, I think. We sold players.
Oh, we've done amazing to get the money that we've got.
Realistically, there was no way we were going to make, we've made 100% profit really on those two players. And then they had Freddie on top. So, that's it. But once you, particularly pre-season, the second half of all those games, we look threadbare, absolutely threadbare. And across 46 games, that's what worries me. Bowen takes a knock, we're fucked. If Tati takes a knock, we're fucked. If and we play 4 or 5 games before the transfer window if it closes. So we could win. We could have Mav in the centre back. Then 1st of September, he could fuck off.
See, I'm definitely in the minority when it comes to pre-season because I believe pre-season is just to get minutes in the legs, just to get the players up to scratch, up to match fitness. Yeah. Results, I've never been bothered by.
Not bothered about results. I'm bothered about the personnel. That's what bothers me. When you look at it, you go, right, first half, we've got a decent, and again, I think us as fans, maybe our expectations are a little bit higher. We're looking at as like we're a Premier League club. We're not. We're a Championship club. And there's a reason why the others are like, you've got a really good team. Because they're looking at our team and from an outsider's perspective, going, it's really good. We're thinking, well, we've got James Ward-Prowse playing the midfield. But actually, in the Championship, he could be
I reckon he's going to do
a
a job for us.
difference maker. Yeah. In terms of that sort of that dead ball situation. And I think, obviously the best bit of business we did was securing Bowen for a season. But again, that's risk now, because if we don't go up, he's gone for 15 million quid.
Is that for certain? Yeah.
Well, that's not certain.
Is that what's
being reported? And I think that's probably about right.
Yeah.
That's probably about the money.
I mean, at the end of the day, when you get relegated, you do have to shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
You can't afford to sort of try and embed players into that league. You've actually got to shoot for the stars and just get out of it as quickly as possible. But I am going to ask you a question.
Got it.
Will you be bothered if we didn't go up?
Oh, good question. Head and heart. Heart, no. Head, yes. Because I think financially, we don't know where we're at the moment as a club. We don't know who the fuck's owning it. We know who's currently the major shareholder, but we don't know how it's going to all play out in the next 2 months. From a fan's perspective, I think as long as we have, I don't think personally we'll go up automatically. I think we're going to the playoffs. Just because I just think we haven't got enough about us after that first 11 to have a decent run at it. And I think, and that's why obviously when we signed Veltman and I think that's a really good signing for us. I think it's a really good signing. I think
it's a shrewd signing. Hopefully it'll be Dawson 0.20.
Yeah, and for me, he comes in and he's not a starter. He's a squad player, part of the squad, but he's there if Mav leaves because we know Todebo's going to go. We know we haven't got Disasi now. I still think we're going to buy another centre half, like a starting centre half. But I think at 34, there's no way he's going to be playing 46 games this season in terms of Veltman. So I think it's a really good signing. And I think us as fans, we need to buy players. I think who are going to get us out of this mess. And obviously the likes of Sorba Thomas, Stoke, really good player. You got Zapopnik at Swansea, some really good players who know how to play the Championship, and that's what we need now. And yes, they might not be Premier League quality, but Ricardo Vazquez wasn't Premier League quality, but he was enough to get us up.
Well, historically, you talk about the centre backs. Yeah. Historically, the last 2 times we've been down, we've signed Malky Mackay.
Yeah.
Who, all right, what was he, 34, 35, similar sort of age, didn't play every single game, but he was a voice in the dressing room. Abdoulaye Faye,
good
when we went down the last time, didn't play every single game, but he was solid in the dressing room. These are the type of players
That's what we need.
that you need to get out of this league.
That's what we need.
And we go back to Potter, he sold all of our leaders.
Yeah,
and that's why we was in the mess that we ended up in. Yeah. So, you know, I'm all for it, mate.
No, definitely. I think he's a really good player. I think he'll be really good. And again, we talk about the leaks. No one said who was going to get him. Everyone said he was going to get Adam Webster from Brighton, and Vateman's is much better.
He's a free agent, isn't he?
Free agent, yeah.
Do you reckon that could still be on the cards? Or
no, I don't think so. I think Veltman, I think he was the free agent, but I think we'll bring in money. We'll bring in a decent centre half. Could be Disasi. You know, we know we're waiting on him if Palace don't want him, but they do. But I think we'll end up getting a decent centre half so Kilman won't be starting. So there'll be someone in that left side position.
I feel sorry for him, Kilman. I feel really sorry for him, and I do actually think that the Championship might be the making of him.
Could be,
because when we had Winston Reid,
great, yeah,
there we go,
exactly.
Perfect example. When we had Winston Reid, he was god awful in his first season in the Premier League. The Championship made him, and then the rest is history. Maybe,
yeah. And I think he's a confidence player, Max. I think, and he is, and I think, as you said, playing against slightly different opposition than Haaland and people like that. I think it could be the making of him. But again, there's so many unknown quantities this league, and I think us as fans we just a little bit need to bring our expectations.
We could be the surprise package. You just never know.
We could romp it. We could romp it.
Yeah.
I said I did some. Last 10 years, automatic promotion leading these 91 points.
I thought we was going to do it in 2012 because it was us and Southampton, weren't it, for months and months and months, and all of a sudden Reading. I think they went on like a 17 game win streak or something, wasn't it? It was something crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm with you, mate. It's the pessimistic West Ham fan of me. I think playoffs. And
obviously it's different this year because it goes to 8th as well, innit? So that even more so, you're going to get these plucky sides who get into 8th, beat the 4th or 5th, beat 5th and 6th team away from home, and then they've got momentum going into it. So you could go up and you could finish 8th and go up.
Well, that's how we qualified on the Potter's, wasn't it?
It
the
was
Pardew era.
Yeah, but obviously it drops even more down now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where it was
we scraped in, didn't we?
Now it's 8th, isn't it? Now, so and there's a lot of good teams there spending a lot of money. I mean, obviously, you still got the likes of Wrexham and Birmingham.
I was going to say Wrexham. I think they're going to do it this season.
I
don't know how.
They haven't done. They haven't bought as much as they've just started a little bit now. I think Birmingham more. I just think they seem to have a bit more about them this season. But I think Wrexham, for me, it's almost like they're trying to do enough to get into the playoffs because it's a lottery then. And rather than going for the top two, you've got to really invest to get into that top two. It's almost like trying to do it. No, it's on a shoestring, but they spent a lot last year. So they've still got some good players there. I think Stoke have bought really well, from Middlesbrough really well as well. So there's some big clubs who are spending a lot of money and we're not yet.
Let's go back to your channel then, mate. Let's go to no, that's fine. I mean, listen, mate, I know you can talk and I know that you know your stuff. I know you know your stuff. So honestly, mate, the show's yours. So the floor's yours.
Yeah.
So let's go back to my Hammers 11.
Yeah.
Which I said when I last saw you, it was groundbreaking for the time it was.
It was at the right time of COVID. At the right time.
What was your favourite Hammers 11 to do, like with your guests? What was your favourite one?
Great shout.
Because you've done a lot of them, didn't you? How many have you done?
I think because I wanted to do 500. I think I did about 500.
Wow.
But or maybe I've done that. I know we had 100 and something ex-players on, from Brian Deere to Pedro Obiang. So that's probably the earliest and the latest we've had. And yeah, they're all different. I like the ones that surprise us. So like Pedro Obiang really surprised me. Thomas Repka was interesting because he didn't speak any English and we was doing it via his mate. And yeah, it was just bizarre. There's been so many, and like everyone surprises you. I mean, obviously we're Coley on, Joe. We're both Coleys, but we had Joe on, and that was amazing because he was like I idolised Joe Cole as a kid, and we went on for hours. Slaven Bilic was amazing. We spoke for hours before and afterwards.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Amazing guy, such a nice guy. Got on really well with his agent as well, Kenneth. He's the top man as well. Honestly, I enjoyed all of them. All of them brought something different. And for me, it was the guys I idolised. I think football's a bit like music. You know, the songs you like DJing at are the songs that you grew up to as a kid, like teenager. Those songs resonate with you, and the same with players. So Pete Butler, interviewing Pete Butler when he was Liberian team manager, and he was in George Weah's complex, who's obviously the president of Liberia, and he had to charge up
Wi-Fi or something.
He had to book the Wi-Fi or something like that. I didn't understand. That was amazing. The likes of Trevor Morley and obviously Bish and people that I sort of grew up with idolising as players. Those are the ones I enjoyed the most. But we sort of now, if we have someone new on, so we had we've had obviously recently, but we had Lomas on and people like that. And everyone's been brilliant. We had the best one actually. The funniest one was with Michael Hughes. So Hughesy,
what a player he was! I loved him. Michael Hughes. Yeah.
And he turned up. We did it live. No, we did it in my garage because he was meeting Kenny and Keith Rowland for a Costa.
Does he live over here then, Michael Hughes?
No, he's in Ireland.
Right,
he's in Northern Ireland.
Right.
So he came over. He was meeting up with Kenny, and because obviously in Hornchurch, that's where Kenny and Keith live. So he came, again, mother-in-law, God rest her soul, as he walked in, she offered him a sausage sandwich and had no idea who this was. And it was just and he sat there for about 2 or 3 hours just chatting about how fucking massive the shirts were. Cause it was the bubble shirts, wasn't it? With the
with a collar. It's like the 70s collar, wasn't it?
Talking about them, and it's been mental. It's been mental. But then obviously the fact, we consciously, we didn't want it to all be about ex-players. It was about sort of almost recording fans' experiences and their memories. So some great stories about, about sort of fans, why I became West Ham fans, and really interesting stories about the players they loved. And every one of them was fun. It was great fun. It's good. It was really fun. It was really sort of, it wasn't, it's a hobby, but it was it was a pleasure sitting there fucking Terry, I can't remember his surname, but I oversee him at all Lens events. But Mr. Autograph, man, we was there for about 2 hours. It was, and honestly, even now he says, "Am I still the longest? Am I still the longest?" I think he is still the longest interview I've ever done. Went off about 2.5 hours.
It's funny, ain't it? Because as I said before, we are just a different breed of people, aren't we? We're just a different club. But even we can. Even with the fan base going back to the 90s, I told you the story last time I was here. But when I went to Bridport to the pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
Because Harry used to do it all around Dorset and all that, didn't he, in the mid-90s. And we went to Bridport. And when we turned up, my dad was looking at the programme because he was one of them. He used to tick the names off, write all the squad numbers in and all that stuff. And I think it was the youths that were playing. And he was like, "Oh, this has been a waste of time, ain't it?" Because back then, with all due respect, a lot of our fan base didn't really pay too much attention to the academy.
No.
Apart from when the likes of Joe Cole and Rio and all that started coming through. And we stayed till the end. And my dad said, "Right, typical dad, does anyone need to go to the toilet before we leave? The clubhouse is over there." Went to the clubhouse. Who's in there?
Can't remember the story. Was it everyone getting pissed, wasn't it?
Julian Dix.
That's it, yeah.
Chain smoking.
Yeah.
John Moncur, pissed out of his face. No. You've got Paolo Futre, who was a Ballon d'Or runner-up, just standing in the corner like that.
Brilliant.
It is just typical West Ham.
It's that era though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It's like a soap opera, that era.
Yeah.
You go back, I always think of that Bradford City game, and that epitomised that whole era for me, because you had amazing football, shit defence. You had the
Xhaka breaking his leg and then fist pumping the crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had Di Canio sitting down, refusing to play, and then sort of rising up when his song was sung like some sort of phoenix. Him fighting with Lampard about the penalty. You had Moncur setting a goal up and then giving a goal away pretty much immediately. You had that Lawrence bloke with red head.
He didn't get his shirt back on in time, did he? Do you remember that? He took his shirt off, and then obviously they blew for the kickoff, and he was still trying to put his shirt off.
And it was that era. And I remember that game and sitting there thinking, beforehand thinking, are we still going to be talking about this game 25 years on? And we still do. And when we had Monks or Xhaka, they talk about that game as if it was yesterday. And it was such a fun era.
I'll tell you what's funny. I've actually got a mate who supports Man United. I don't know why, but we grew up with each other in Essex, and he went to that game.
Yeah.
So he went as just like a neutral. And even till this day, and he's seen Man United play in the Champions League. He's seen some big games, mate. And he said, that's the best game of football I've ever seen in my life.
Funny.
Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah, I was there as well. And that is my top 5 all time.
Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Even down to the weather.
And everything.
Even down to the weather and the smell. I know it sounds
It was a really
crazy,
hot day as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Like, do you know, like when you had when you're just going into the evening at West Ham, and it like the smell, everything. Oh,
it was just
so
like
much.
it just epitomised like that whole era. It's sort of a microcosm of those how many years under Redknapp, you know. And you had like the Lampards, you had Joe Coles, you had those players as well. You had sort of the older players as well, the likes of Monks and stuff. And yeah, brilliant day. It was a brilliant game. That was, and as you said, Stephen Bywater coming on, the academy goalkeeper, and no, I loved it, and it was just such a fun time, wasn't it? And you're right. We said about the academy. I think up until then, that was like you'd have one or two, but having that sort of big influx of players coming in, obviously the academy is something I really sort of am passionate about, and that was one of the things why, you know, when we did the channel, like I wanted to do a show just on the academy because no one was doing it, and it's a massive part of what being West Ham is, or like the old school West Ham is about, you know, West Ham boys coming through, and we're at a situation now where very similar to that, we've got an influx of players coming through now, which actually being in the Championship is probably going to help us in the long run, bringing these boys through. We remember last time we spoke about it, and I mean, I was talking about Colin Beckis. I mean, Colin Beckis, now I've called it. Then I was like, you know, he's someone who's going to make a massive impact at West Ham, and you know, Mayers.
I'm really excited for Lewis Alford.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Lewis because I've spoken to his dad on a number of occasions.
Yeah, he's
I've
a nice
actually
guy.
Popped to the house. I don't know if they're still there now. And he's some player, mate, Lewis Alford.
He is.
He really, really is.
And that's one thing about Freddie leaving, you know, and they were, you know, Freddie going, I think it's a fantastic move for him. Obviously, I know Fred quite well, you know, and obviously his dad and part of that West Ham fraternity, the Potts family. But for him, that is brilliant move for him. You know, he's been playing Champions League. Exactly. Yeah. He ain't going to get off the bench against Lincoln City at West Ham under the current way it's set up. You know, he's not going to play he's not going to start half the games. He's only a few months younger than Deck. People think he's like Lewis, he's an academy boy. He's 22, 23 now. He needs to be playing proper football. But by him going, yes, we've got a decent-ish number into, but that's 100% profit, obviously, because he's an academy player. But Lewis then goes up one.
Well, it's making sense now because has Alvarez said that he's staying?
Alvarez,
I know that he's got the number 4. I know he's got the number 4 shirt, and this is what a lot of people are saying. He's got the number 4 shirt. It means he's staying. He got the number 4 shirt last season.
Yeah.
But he didn't wear it because he went straight back out on loan. So talking about the academy. So I know you know your stuff. Who are we looking out for at the moment, excluding the likes of Lewis, Alford, Ezra as well, excluding players like that are just on the fringes of coming into the first team?
As I said, for the first time in about 8-10 years, we've got a conveyor belt of talent now. We haven't just got one or two. So you can go back and look, we had like Declan Rice. I remember watching Deck as an 18-year-old centre-half. It was okay. He wasn't brilliant, but he had an aura around him, which none of the others had. We've got that now, I think, with Edge's Colin Beckis. I think he's probably not this year, but, you know, I mean, he almost played a full 90, didn't get injured in pre-season when we played Stevenage. And he scored, I think. No, technically. He's someone who I think has got a massive future at West Ham, or a massive future in the game. The last person to captain the under-21s at 18 was Declan Rice. And Colin Beckis, I think, is up there compared to where Deck was that age. He's already been pushed into that central midfield position the last few games. So I think that could be somewhere you said Ezra, you know, but, you know, and I think we've had a bottleneck as well. So obviously Callum Marshall's gone. And I think because of this conveyor belt, it's actually everyone's sort of coming to the top. The cream's rising. George Earthy's another, you know, question mark of what happens with him as well. Obviously, you've got Ollie. I mean, Lewis, you've got Preston Fearon, as we know. Everyone knows about Preston. I think he's someone who's got a lot of ability. I think he needs a couple of seasons out on loan, or a season out on loan. You've got Josh Ajala, striker, but I think if he's used this year, he'll be on the left-hand side. He's a good player. He's a lethal striker. Josh Landers, striker, got from Hibernian 18 months ago. Good player. I think he could be that 6'3", not putting sort of too many names in him, but that Dean Ashton type player, sort of that, sort of like he's.
Gosh, a big shout.
I know, but I mean, he's got like the height.
Stature of Dean.
He's got the stature. He's I think he's a lethal. He's got enough of a turn of a pace. Dino wasn't a quick player, but he had that
very intelligent when he
in that first couple of yards. I don't know how tricky. I think Josh is. Until you play him against adults, you'll never find out. I think he'll go out on loan to St Mirren or actually, I think Southend are interested in him as well, actually. So he might do wise to go there. You've got Junior Robinson, right back, who's been in and out, a bit strange. He was on the release list, but he's back. So I don't know whether they've offered him a new deal. Who else we got? We've got centre midfield. We've got Riley Hagan, West Ham boy, West Ham family. Good, tidy little player he is. Callum Leacock, centre half, he's a good player. Dan Cummings up front, guy we got from Celtic last summer.
Yeah, he's got a big reputation.
But he had a shoulder injury, so he's only just come back the last few games. And then goalkeeper Finn Herrick. Finn Herrick, I think he's got all the attributes to be a very good goalkeeper for West Ham. Not the 6'4" like behemoth like centre goalkeepers, but he's a good ball at the feet, does his thing. Where people take the ball and they hoof it, he drives it along the ground to the central midfielder all the time, and no one ever picks up on it. It's really funny, but there's loads of really good, and we've got this conveyor belt. Joel Kerr, he's my next one, winger. He was a Gaelic football player, so he's got the build of him. He's got, because they have to be sort of quite aggressive, but he has got something about him. I really like Joel Kerr. I think he could really make an impact in a couple of years' time. So we got loads. We used to be only have one or two. Sonny Perkins or Harrison Ashby, but now we've got 6 or 7, and then we've got 3 or 4 behind them, and then in the 6, and then we've got like Andre Dyke and people like that in the seat below them. So we've got this conveyor belt now. They've got themselves set up.
Even going back a couple of years ago as well, when you had Caelan Casey and George Urphy, those two were apart from Lewis Alford as well, but he's a little bit younger than those, isn't he? So it was only really those two that were being spoken about at the moment. What's happened with those two? Like, what do you think's happened with Caelan Casey and George Urphy? Because particularly George, huge reputation. He made his debut, scored on his debut as well for West Ham, and then he went out to Bristol City. Had an amazing season. Come back.
And that was exciting. Do you remember? Because there was that thing, it was under Lopetegui, wasn't it? And they sort of had that video when he's walking around. And George is like, I'm doing some training. George is, my issue, I think the issue with George is injuries. He gets injured at the wrong time. So literally he got injured. I think he got injured like just after the that sort of first spell when Moisey played him in that close season. I think he got injured. And then he came back. Then he went to Bristol City. Then he was like, okay, well, this is his year with Lopetegui. Then he gets injured again. So I think for him, it's injuries. When he plays, I think he can make an impact this season, although it's his last year of his contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does a Callum Marshall.
Was he 22 at the moment? 21, 22?
Again, these guys, it comes to a point where they, like Freddie Potts, he has to go to get first team football. Caelan, I think Caelan is someone who's been in the system for so long that everyone knows, and that's the trouble with the academy system. You play against the same people. Caelan's probably played against the same people, the same opposition since he was 9 or 10.
10 years,
So you've got nothing, and he's a decent player. He's tall. He's quite skinny, I think. Went to Orient on loan, played a couple of games, then they dropped him and they started doing really well. So they didn't really get back into the side. And I think Airdris is probably above him in the pecking order. I'd play him above Caelan Casey. I think it just comes to a point where it's alone because of the way the academy system works. These kids don't get we've had guys, I remember interviewing the people like Lee Hodges and Izzy Ickpen and Adam Newton. Obviously they won the FA Youth Cup final, and they talk about the virtues of reserve team football and learning the tricks of the trade from Stuart Pearce or Ian Pearce, how to man mark Les Ferdinand at the game. Izzy tells a whole story about that. And I think that's the issue with these, if you're not utilising the loan. So like Freddie's a classic example, 2 loan moves, player of the season on both those for Wickham and Portsmouth. You thought, and then he broke into the side really. And then Potter, he was playing all pre-season under Potter, then he just dropped him like a stone. I feel really sorry for them because I think they miss out on that. You can be, Lewis Alford is head and shoulders above Thomas Souček in terms of technical ability. You know, as I said, I think he reminds me of Michael Carrick. Always has time in the ball, never seems rushed, always has a real nice range of passing, but it's the physical side of the game, particularly even more so in the Championship. They're going to get
It'll be the making of him, though.
Yeah, well, it would be. Yeah, and he'll get
Yeah.
He'll get a dozen appearances this season.
Because Unai Emery wanted him, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly,
Unai Emery actually, so he hadn't even made an appearance for West Ham by that point. And Unai Emery actually said he will go straight into our first team.
Thomas Tuchel took him to the England camp, didn't he? So they've earmarked him, and he was England under 19 captain, 18 captain as well. You know, he could be the future of West Ham midfield. But he has to be dealt with properly, you know, and it's about his development. Having 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 minutes away to Bolton, a Carabao Cup appearance, is that going to help him? Or is it going to help him get a decent loan move? Because I think the Stevenage move last year was a bit rushed. I think West Ham were holding on to him unless we brought people in, but obviously then we got Fernandes in and people like that, and then they let him go, and it was almost like a bit of a rush deal. Let's get him out. And it was the wrong move for him. But I think obviously his dad's a lovely bloke as well. So West Ham.
Yeah, he's a top bloke, Mark.
Really,
he's
lovely,
a top bloke.
Really nice guy. So
just bringing you back a little bit. So Izzy a Rick Penn.
Yeah.
Have you done anything with Izzy before? You have.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to get Izzy on here for so long now, and he said to me, he said, I don't know if I should do it or not. He said because I feel like I'm sort of blagging it a little bit, and I was like, you was a captain.
Yeah.
That lifted the FA Youth
Those
Cup.
are the guys I like interviewing the most, the ones who barely played.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get Laurent Courtois on soon. And it was like, I like these guys. And
I thought he was decent, Laurent Courtois.
Laurent Courtois,
I thought he was quite decent.
Yeah, and it's like people like that, because we would have changed, you, me and Dave, we would have probably given our life away to do what they did. And he's only, I think Laurent only played like one game.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
He looked quite decent though, I thought.
He was
the French winger, yeah.
So I like people like that, who only have played like a handful of games, or people you haven't heard of. So we had Matty Rush on a while ago, and people like that. And
he scored a good goal at White Hart Lane. I was there.
He did. Yeah. I used to love Matty Rush. He was such a good player. He would have been brilliant in today's football. Some of these guys sort of like were in the wrong era. I think Bish was in a wrong era. I think Bish now,
a very intelligent player.
Bish, would have been like a David Silva type player, and because he had that ability, but he could mix up as well. But because everyone's heard from. No disrespect, but everyone's heard from Macca. Everyone's heard from TC. Everyone's heard
Dixie
from
as well.
Dixie. These types. I like trying to talk. So we've got a few people we're talking to at the moment who be great if we get them on. You haven't heard. There's one I haven't heard of. Do anything for anyone, and I want to get him on for a particular game we're playing this season. He might come on for that.
So it is or not?
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But those are the ones I love, because it's like they're the ones usually more surprising because they're not media trained. They don't do anything for the club, so a little bit more loose-lipped as well. And they're the fun ones. They're the really fun ones.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because you really get to hear about like the little nitty-gritty sort of details like that in dressing rooms and around.
I mean, Izzy was quite honest with his one.
Yeah.
He thought he was...
He was a good player as well.
He was. And again, injuries. He got injured at the wrong time. He was going to be the next one to step up. Got injured. Then his place got taken over by someone else. And then he took a decision to drop down a division and had a good career at Swansea. Lee Hodges, he could have stayed at... Harry wanted to keep him, but he thought, actually, I'm not going to get loads of first-team football here. I can go to Scunthorpe and had a great career there. Adam Newton, these types of guys...
He's a lovely fella as well, Adam Newton.
Boy.
He's a lovely fella.
Cabbie, nice guy.
Really nice bloke. So who's been your most surprising interviewee then? Like, surprised you like the most? I know you spoke about the fringe players like Laurent Courtois, and who's been the most surprising one for you?
Most surprising one.
That you really enjoyed when you come off and you was like, I really enjoyed that one.
I think it was Pedro Obiang. I really do, because it was such a bizarre, because obviously we just kept on coming back to the Tottenham goal. And he was such a nice guy. And obviously we had to pre-record it. We would pre-record everything, but we had to then send it through to Sassuolo as well to make sure it was okay, because he was currently still playing for them. Obviously we'd signed Scarmacca at the time, and we was talking about agent Obiang, and he was so friendly, so nice, and just how you can imagine he would be. I think that was the most...
very gentle. When I look at him, I think you're very gentle.
I think he's now like sporting director at Como or something like that. So he's gone that way into football. So That was fun. That was a really fun one. And, I mean, not surprising, but like Shaka, I just loved Shaka as a man. He's such a lovely person.
Yeah, he's a lovely bloke as well, Shaka, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're all brilliant. They're all great fun. Yeah, they're all guys that we'd love to have done what they did. But yeah, I think Pedro was lovely because obviously that was probably the most recent player we ever had as well. So that was probably one of
Is he still playing now?
No, I think he's
Is he done now?
Yeah, I think he's retired and because he was really ill, didn't he? He got really ill.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I think I'm pretty sure he's sporting director. I think it's Como or someone like that.
Because he was 23 when we signed him.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, short career.
Good fun.
So right, let's move on then, mate.
Okay.
Let's talk about the DJing at West Ham. You've been waiting for that, haven't you? You've been waiting for it, haven't you? So
I knew he was coming.
Let's talk about the DJing then, mate. I know it was a massive part of your life. And I've seen a lot about this on social media.
Yeah.
Some people have not said some nice things about it. I'll be honest with you, mate.
Yeah.
Now, what really grinds my gears with that, regardless of whether you're just a self-proclaimed butter monkey, as you call it, you're a West Ham supporter.
Yeah.
And this is what separates, again, the Boleyn ground from the London Stadium.
Yeah.
You've made that
made the step
transition with it.
Yeah.
And when you do talk about the Boleyn ground, everyone that worked there were West Ham people.
Yeah.
So this is another one
that
has gone.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's true. I mean, you never be able to please everyone. We know that, and not everyone is universally liked at all. But I think the ones who are I think people just social media, people love a pile on, and yeah, I mean, the positivity that came out far outweighed the negativity. If it was completely negative, then I'll be like, okay, fair enough. But the positivity far outweighed it. And yeah, I mean, it's just social media. I get on a YouTube channel, there were people who like me talking. There are people like Anton talking, Holly, Irish Tommy, and everyone has a different opinion. But yeah, it's been a mad week. It's been mad. It's been crazy. So timeline. So I knew about it for a while, but obviously, as we
can you elaborate on that? Was it like a whisper that you heard, or did someone give you a pre-warning?
I got a call. I got a call about it to say, and this was around the time that everything fell out with the Sullivan, everything with Air and Kretinsky. So it was around that sort of mid-July time, mid-June, so early July time. But obviously, personally, I keep saying, rest aside, I lost my mother-in-law around that time as well. So it's like, oh man, literally
double whammy.
Yeah, double whammy. And then everything. So I thought, actually, okay, well, let me sit on it for a bit and try and digest it, because it was a massive shock. I didn't think, I'd survived 2 relegations, both obviously at the Boleyn, and I thought I was already getting ready. And actually, as I said, the thing that guided me most was, we got 50,000 season ticket holders. It felt like West Hamness was coming back. We've had Sullivan's tenure, 16 years. Felt that there was a renewed optimism at the club as well. And I was like, this is going to be fun. This season's going to be fun. Championship, welcoming Lincoln City there, playing some new songs, getting more grief off Lincoln City fans and Millwall fans. That's what I was really looking forward to. And then was basically said that, we're cutting costs. I think it was, I can't remember the actual expression, but your job isn't there anymore now. And I thought,
literally just like that, as cutthroat as that.
Yeah, well, it came from my floor manager. So right. My floor manager, we've been working together for 10 years. So we're good friends. So there's me, there's her, there's Martin, who does the announcing. We were together for about 10 years. So last few years at the Boleyn, and obviously, more than 10 years, because we've been.
He took over from Jeremy, didn't he?
Yeah, he took over from Jeremy, didn't he? So when I started in 2001 or whatever, when we had the new, the Rio stand. That's my first season then. So I was with Jeremy. Then they got rid of Jeremy and brought in Martin. So I was with me, Martin, and then our floor manager. So we were there all the way through there, and obviously since we moved to the London Stadium, so she had to give the news. So she was literally crying down the phone before she even told me. So it was like...
Did you know by that? Did you know?
I kind of guessed when she said, have you got time for a quick call? And I was like, that's never good, because she never calls me. She'll text me and tell me to shut the fuck up. So I was like, okay. And she told me, and she cried, I cried, because it's been a massive, since I was, pretty much all my adult life I've been doing it. And it's sort of what I was known for. I was the button monkey, and
quarter of a century, mate.
Quarter of a century. Yeah. I owned that, and it was like, I was DJ Rusty Bit. That's what I was. And so, and when I'd done stuff outside of West Ham, football stuff, people outside of West Ham knew me. So I remember doing Soccer AM, Soccer A to Z rather, and Helen Chamber went, "You're the West Ham bloke." Like, I've never met her before. Actually, I did meet her about 20 years ago, but she knew who I was before I'd even started chatting to her and things like that. And so that was, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit on it, digest it. Obviously told my wife, she's gutted for me, obviously, with everything else that's gone on in our lives at the moment. So we're like, okay, all right. And I thought, do you know what? Then I started to get messages from people. So obviously doing what I do, I get a lot of bands, a lot of artists who are West Ham fans say, look, I've got a new single. Can you come and play it? Can you play it? Can you play it? So, I've done it before, and, it's obviously like Josie J. Jones. We did a load of stuff last season. We've never take the East End out of me and that type of stuff. And I thought, I hate not responding to people. It's the same as my job. I hate sitting on emails and team messages. If someone sends me a message, I'm going to respond straight away. And I thought, do you know what? Rather than do it piecemeal and just say, I'm not going to do it anymore. I thought, do you know what? Own the narrative. Just say something, put together a little video. So I put together a little video on YouTube, followed up with a little statement on social media, just say, look, this is what's happening. Not going to do it, really sad, massive part of my life. Maybe the club might change their mind, that type of thing. And that was on the Tuesday. By the time Thursday came along, I was on TalkSport. TalkSport reached out to me, and I went on it was the Hawksby and Jacobs show, but it was Ollie and Charlie Baker. I know Ollie from doing Newcastle previews and stuff, so I knew Ollie. In the morning of that, I then got a notification on my phone from TalkSport of all like new article. It was like, Fan Fury, and they'd written an article about me, which I thought was what the fuck. Did the TalkSport thing, did the show, then Flo, my daughter, she messaged me when they were in Portugal at the time, saying you're on the Sun website, and the Sun had written an article about me. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It's the power of social media, ain't it?
I was trending on Twitter for 2 days on the news site. The video was in the top 25 most hyped videos all that week across YouTube. It was mental. Like the LinkedIn, I didn't put it was on LinkedIn. That's like work. That's like my proper work. I occasionally put stuff up. I wouldn't put it on there. Although maybe I might, because Karim, I think I'm connected to Karim on LinkedIn, so it might have been fucking useful. So that was it. And then LinkedIn, Instagram, put that up, and then that got something like 6,000 likes, and you had Ray Winston chirping in, and Chesney, and all the usual people I know all getting involved. And it just went mental, honestly. And then someone in the West Ham network community set up a petition, and I was like, what? And it maxed out on 5,000. And I was like, this is just mental. And it was just great.
You didn't expect that at all.
No, yeah. I didn't. Some people messaged me, oh, you set all this up. I didn't. I literally just put it out there because I'd had enough. I'd had so many emails coming in about the season ahead. I thought, let's just get it out there, like pull the Band-Aid off. And I wasn't expecting any of it. I was expecting a few people to have maybe people I knew might have said, oh, this is out of order, but not to have gone. Like, we had loads of non-West Ham fans were getting involved. So, like Ellis Platten, who does Away Days YouTube channel, he put a big post up about it as well. Like, loads of sort of the football sites were running it as well. And it was just like, I think it was almost seen as like a call to arms in terms of the ridiculousness of football. Because,
well, I was going to say, it's the community in football in general as well, because you've been doing it for 25 years. You're a diehard West Ham fan. And like I said, it's another West Ham person that's been removed from the club. Yeah.
No, you're right. And I think it was one of those things where, it's not my full-time job. Because people say, oh, he's on the shit. I'm not. It was a couple of $100 a game, and I'm there for 9 hours.
It's not a job to you though, is it?
It's not a job.
Yeah.
And even if they said, look, could you knock yourself down 50% or whatever, I'd have said, yeah, no problem at all. Because it's not necessarily about the money. It was about everything to do with it. And people say, well, do it for free. I could do it for free, but it's saying to my wife, I'm going to go football and I'm going to be gone for 9 hours. If I hadn't, the idea was, with the West Ham gig, I'd have a couple of quid in my pocket. It'll pay for our kebabs for the week. And maybe I should cut down the kebabs anyway. So maybe that's helped me out a little bit. But that was the thing. But I wasn't even offered a reduction or whatever, which I would have taken, and obviously a lot of people who did lose their jobs, their actual jobs, they've reached out to me. I reckon about 25 or so people lost their jobs. Good people as well. Good people. A lot of the content and marketing people, particularly some of the academy guys, I know they lost their jobs. Corporate PR and stuff like that as well, and marketing and those areas which probably aren't going to be as prevalent towards. And I think a lot of it was knee jerk. It's frustrating. I mean, for example, for what it costs for me, as I said, I think Jared could have an afternoon nap one day after training a year, and that would probably be double what I'm on. So it wasn't necessarily about the money. It was the fact it's part of being a small cog in a big wheel. I figured it out. I've actually applied for the Guinness Book of Records, being the person who's played Unfair for playing bubbles the most time in the world. So I must be. I must.
I didn't think of it like that.
I reckon I've played it at least 1,200 times, that song. And I've applied. That's the minimum. Because I was thinking 25 years on average I could probably go through and do it specifically if I had enough time. Because if we'd won the game, I'd have played it at the end as well. But you played at least twice a game. And so, it was something like 1,200 times. And, there was something special, I think, for me, like being a West Ham fan, playing our song, and it was our idea to drop it at Fortunes. Me and Jeremy's idea to drop it at Fortunes. What
Just drop the crossfader.
Yeah. And that was our job. We tried it once and it worked. So, and that was 24 years ago, something like that. So it's just very, very sad. It is really sad. And it's still, I feel like.
Is it still raw for you?
Yeah, it is. I think it will be. And people offer me season tickets and stuff like that. To be honest, it feels a little bit like going to see your ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. It feels a little bit like that. I felt a little bit like cheated on, and it was like you talk about loyalty and stuff like that, and you're thinking, is it really worth it to have done that? And I genuinely believe it wasn't done with malice. It was done as here's a list. Jerk. Right, we need to cut costs, and not necessarily what was behind those numbers.
I've got a strange feeling though. Sorry for cutting you off there. I've got a strange feeling because I know you've got your finger on the pulse of what goes on at the club. Have you seen what they've said recently? They want fans to contribute.
Yes.
To send in their ideas for a playlist.
Yes, I saw that.
What the fucking hell is that all about? So who's going to be playing this playlist?
Well, I mean, basically, it'll be so they bring in
AI or
no, they bring in an audio. So basically, behind the scenes, there's a company, an audio visual company, who do the stuff there. So because obviously we don't own the equipment. Because we're not. Sorry, Dave. We don't own the equipment. I know. I just not.
Sorry, mate.
I know,
sorry,
exactly.
Mate.
That's why I knocked it. I didn't mean to. I get so animated about audio visual stuff. That's why, Dave.
Just fucking like that. Look.
I know. And I can see him in my peripherals. So they bring a company in at the beginning of our loan or our rental period, and they'll set all the equipment up. We basically hire it off them. All the microphones and stuff like that, and so there'll be an operator. So there'll be an operator that's doing it. So there'll be one of them will probably be running it and running it. The thing that's basically, I saw that post because obviously people were sending it to me. This is ridiculous. So they're like putting in I think I've seen about 20 people suggest hang the DJ.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
That's really good. That
I see one
proper dad joke. That one.
One bloke's put in like I want you back.
Yeah, I want you back.
And all those type of things as well. So look, it is what it is. For me, I think it's a PR open goal for them to get me back. From a purely selfish perspective, I think it is. Because if they're talking about listening to fans, we got some people don't get like me. I get that. It's not a problem. You're not going to please everyone. But there's, as I said, a 5,000 thing petition. There's got to be at least 5,000 people who've signed it. So 5,000 people like me. And for the club to say we've listened, Russ is back. You could do it. Go down I'm 5 minutes away from Rush Green. Go there. You could just see the West Ham. You could see their YouTube video. With a DJ Russie B, I'll take that. I haven't bought the new shirt yet.
You hit the nail on the head, mate. You're a small cog in a big wheel.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. To the average Joe, it just looks like, oh well, you've just literally just got rid of a guy that presses a button.
Yeah.
No, you're a West Ham person.
I think that's what's. It's really weird. Everything that's gone in the world of West Ham at the moment, fucking letting the button monkey go has seemed to galvanise the fan base more than bloody who's if it's Staveley or
who's going to spend 13 billion on fucking making the club great again.
Exactly. Yeah. But it just shows what football is all about, and all that support. As I said, I've had a lot of ex-players reach out to me, text me, phone me, check I'm all right. Some still involved in the club as well. So through ambassador role, so I won't say who did it, but a lot of them come out and sort of spoken to me, which is lovely. Like as I said, I literally have to have my phone on charge for like 3 days solid because of all the emails and messages. It was really humbling, and it just shows that West Ham is there. That community spirit is there. It just takes things to galvanise it. And that's what's been really humbling in the last sort of week or so, is that sort of support from everyone. All the YouTube lot as well, they've all spoken about it, like Nicky and Gio and Gonzo and Nick, and everyone's sort of spoken about it and, showed their support, which was lovely, and it's really humbling, been really humbling and really overwhelming, really. Really overwhelming when you're seeing like I went cold when I saw like the Sun had put an article up and stuff, and because I still know a lot of people at the club, and and I don't want to put them in an awkward position as well, because with new people, interim CEOs and new marketing people, you just it might put the cat amongst the pigeons a little bit, and I don't want to. There was no intention to do any of that. It was literally just to let people know. That I wasn't being the button monkey.
Have you heard from the club since? No,
nothing.
No.
And I don't expect to hear anything from him really, unless I think maybe we have a really shit start to the season, and in case of emergency, break glass. Let's have a good PR story to.
You're going to come back with your cape on.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying today, not comparing myself at all. But we're in that really shit period, and they just brought Mark Noble in as a director of football.
Yeah,
it's almost that.
It was a PR disaster.
It's almost like a shiny thing. Like we're doing really shit. We'll bring the DJ back. It costs them fuck all to do, and it gives them a few column inches. I mean, they must have had a shitload of column inches in the last.
I'm just waiting to see that selfie, mate.
Yeah, that's the thing. The
pitch side. I'm waiting to see that selfie.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be that would be lovely. That would be lovely. I'm not planning to go back just yet, or go watch a game there, just because it feels really raw. But obviously we're still doing the watch alongs on the channel and stuff, so we'll see how that pans out, see how I react to it as well. I think people might tune in just to see me cry into a ball and sit in the corner, but it is what it is, and unfortunately it's a sad affair of working in a football club. That happens. It happens.
So what are your plans then, Russ, moving forwards from now? Obviously it has been devastating news for yourself. Have you sat and thought about what you're going to do on a Saturday from now on?
I'll still do the watch-alongs and stuff like that. I do the away watch-alongs anyway, and the home watch-alongs, just do them and see how it all pans out, really, and taking a few more DJ bookings.
Keep the missus sweet.
Keep the missus sweet. Don't worry, I'm still bringing my own. Don't worry, still putting those. We still get the kebabs. Doing a few, quite a lot more actually, and again, sort of a lot of the West Ham futsal groups who are DJs, they've reached out and have said, look, I've got a gig going here, and says Paul, one of the guys who are friends on Facebook, every other week he's like, there's a job, I can't do this one. Do you want to do this one? And so it's been really nice. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Mate.
Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Loved it.
And I really do wish you all the very best for the future. I'm a fan of your channel.
Thank you.
I've told you this many, many times before.
Thank you.
And I'm sad to not see you at the club anymore, mate. I really, really am.
We'll see. And again,
But I do think you're going to be back. I can feel it in my bones.
I haven't had any, and we don't know what's going to happen with the academy. That's the thing I'm all gutted about, really, if I'm not doing it for the academy. So obviously, I do the button pushing at West Ham for the first team. I also do it for the academy. And I haven't heard anything about that. But the guys who are my main contacts there, they've left. They've been sacked. So I might just turn up and sit at the back, because that's what I love. I love watching.
Just kick the doors from.
Well, I just sit. I just walk in and and I'll just plug in and start, and then we'll see what happens. But we haven't got the fixture list for the Premier League 2 games yet. Although we are drawn against Hornchurch in the
That'd be tasty.
in the cup.
Got Ant on there now.
Anton and Daryl as well.
Yeah.
So we under 21's got them in the National League Cup group. So that'd be interesting.
Amazing.
To that.
Russ, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Been a pleasure, man.
You're
Absolute pleasure.
Top bloke.
Just Dave, are we recording? Have we got the audio? Yeah, good. Yeah. Good.
Sorry, just before we go, when you nudged that microphone, I could feel the fucking burning, and I just went out and he's.
That's getting my own back for last time. So yeah.
The thing is, though, mate, if we didn't have him here,
No, exactly. I
you know
totally
what I
agree.
mean. He's a massive part of this as well.
Thank you.
So. Thanks everyone for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and follow us on all the socials. And there's one thing left to say. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons. Irons.